Hello, Illini fans. This is the Armchair Illini podcast. I'm your host, Austin Burklund, and I'm so excited that you made me a part of your evening or part of your day whenever you're watching this on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple. Like, share, and subscribe. We're going to be talking about the Illinois versus Duke game, and then we'll also be talking about some Big Ten results and see if some of these teams scare us as Illini fans or if the Illini fans should be confident against these teams moving forward. But the Armchair Illini podcast is fired up to team with Hamilton Walker's Seafood and Spirits, hands down the best dining experience in Champaign, Urbana. We're talking prime steaks, fresh seafood, and a vibe that's perfect after a big Illini win. And here's the game changer. Every single home game, and yeah, that's right, every single home game, we're giving away a $100 Hamilton Walker's gift card on the Armchair Illini social media. That's right, dinner on Armchair Illini. So follow Armchair Illini and Hamilton Walkers on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to get in on the action and experience Hamilton Walkers where Champaign Urbana comes to celebrate. The Armchair Illini podcast, as well, is pumped to team up with Campus Inc.'s official Illinois NIL store. Get officially licensed gear from your favorite Illini stars, Luke Altmaier, Terrence Shannon Jr., Kofi Coburn, and many more. Support your favorite athletes and rep the orange and blue. Use code Armchair Illini for 15% off. Illinois won 45-19 against the Duke Blue Devils, and what started off as a game where you thought it was going to be topsy-turvy. One team scores, the other team bounces back. Duke scores, Illinois scores. Duke scores, Illinois scores. Or just Duke doesn't score, punts. Illinois doesn't score, punts. And we'll figure it out in the fourth quarter. It kind of was that in the first half where you didn't know what direction this game was going to ultimately lead to. There were some bad defensive miscues by the defensive line for the Illini to start the game off, and Duke was kind of able to get whatever they wanted. You look at the sack totals for the Illini in this game, and that was only 2. There was only 2 sacks by the Illini total in this game. And then you looked at the offense where there was kind of some slow starts coming into this away game environment in North Carolina. But then all of a sudden, the turnover fairy was very, very lucky for the Illini. Duke had 5 turnovers this game, including 1 interception by Darian Mensah. And then you look at the wide receivers, which a lot of them were from him. There was Shamir Haggins. He had a fumble. Quayshawn Brown had a fumble. And then Darian Mensah had 2 fumbles on those kind of run out of the pocket kind of situations, and Illinois was able to take advantage of it. People could say that Illinois got lucky against Duke. People could say that Illinois and Duke was a much closer game. But how many times have we as Illini fans watched football games where Illinois did not get lucky? How many times have people watched games that Illinois has played in and said, man, Illinois wasn't able to take advantage of the turnovers that Team X had or Team Y had, and Illinois still found a way to lose those games? Under Brett Bielema in this 11th ranked Illini football team, it feels like those tides have starting to turn, where Illinois will take advantage of a team's misfortune, where Illinois will be the aggressors in that situation, where you don't make mistakes against Illinois, or Illinois will make you pay. And that's kind of what happened. You look at what Luke Altmaier was able to do: 22 for 31, 296 yards, 9.5 per throw, and then 3 touchdowns in this game for that ESPN QBR of 85.9. Rushing totals 123, and there were some long ones in there. Khalil Valentine had a 23-yard rush. Hank Beatty had a 25-yard rush. Luke Altmaier even got in on the rushing action with a 25-yard rush. The rushing yardage for him doesn't count because in the college football realm, sacks count as rushes. So he only ended up with 4 yards, but he did have a 25-yard rush in there. And then these Illinois wide receivers: Hank Beatty, 8 receptions. Justin Bowick, 4. Hudson, 2. Colin Dixon, 3. Malik Elzy had a couple. Khalil Valentine had a couple. And Nicole Rusk had that 1 reception. But that was a big one because it was an 8-yard touchdown reception by the tight end. So this Illinois offense 45 points, 14 in the third quarter, 17 in the fourth quarter. They really got going in that second half where Duke couldn't match it. The turnovers really became an issue for Duke. But I love that fourth quarter of 17 Illinois, Duke 0. And that left Manny Diaz and the Duke Blue Devils really scratching their heads on how they could play such a sloppy football game. But I think Illinois kind of made that happen. They were peanut punching. They were able to really secure some things on the defensive side of the ball that Duke made Duke uncomfortable. So I credit Aaron Henry and the Illinois defense in that second half for really locking some things down. And Illinois did get outscored in that second quarter. It was 10 Duke, Illinois 7. And that's where you kind of are like, oh no, is this going to be the end of the line for college football playoff talks? And where Illinois is going to have to basically sweep the Big Ten to even make that a conversation. And you still have tough games against Indiana. You still have a tough game against Ohio State. You have USC, Washington on the road in Seattle later on in the season. And some of those big time dreams are going away in this first half. And I really didn't think this game was going to be close. I was on the side of Illinois 31, Duke 10 on winning this game. I really didn't think that Duke was going to be able to match up with the physicality of this Illinois program. And I know whenever we had Connor O'Neill on, he talked about how Duke only lost 3 games at home and just was really confident about the Duke Blue Devils and how they were going to be able to handle this Illinois attack. And I really, really questioned that. I questioned how a team from the ACC was going to be able to contend against a top 15 Big Ten program. And this Illinois ranking, it's not by a weak competition metric. You're in the Big Ten. You have higher expectations being in the Big Ten. If anything, that should push Illinois down a little bit because you're like, oh, they're not as good as Penn State. They're not as good as Ohio State. They're not as good as Oregon. They're not as good as teams A, B, and C in the Big Ten. So for people in the AP and these coaches polls to have the confidence that Illinois is able to get the job done, to be able to say, hey, this is a top 15 program in all of college football, I think you had to take some stock into that a little bit more than, oh, Duke's going to come in and beat Illinois at home. I just really didn't see that case. And I really loved what Luke Altmaier did. Luke Altmaier was the steady presence, even when things weren't going the way that Illinois needed to. He was that leader. He was that guy that's going to say, hey, guys, we're good. We're going to chill here. It's going to be fine. And I really think that Illinois having this kind of win, it is the second most important victory in the Big Ten so far this year. I think number one, obviously, is Ohio State beating Texas in Columbus, but I think this kind of victory changes the perception of the program. Obviously, ranked higher this week, you're number 9 in the country in the AP. You rose up a couple spots ahead of even a team like South Carolina, who's become Illinois' kind of menace on the field. So I think when you look at the rankings here, Illinois being number 9, let's see who Illinois is sandwiched in between in, let's say, the AP poll. You have Texas at number 7, you have Notre Dame at number 8, Illinois at number 9, and Florida State at number 10. That Florida State team just beat Alabama in week 1. And then you have South Carolina at number 11, who destroyed a Virginia Tech team in the fourth quarter. And then you have Clemson, who kind of had a weird week this week. And you're ahead of Oklahoma, who beat Michigan. So the way that these voters think that how this Illinois season is going to go is pretty amazing. It's a testament to what Brett Bielema has built. It's a testament to what Josh Whitman has built. And you're looking today at a donation by Larry Geese of $100 million to the University of Illinois athletics program. They're going to rename Memorial Stadium the Geese Memorial Stadium. I mean, it's just phenomenal, the momentum that a win like this can bring, that a ranking like Illinois has can bring, and a donation, all three of those tied together. And you're thinking more than this could be a special season to this is a special program that Brett Bielema has built. We'll see what happens with the playoff race. I don't think it's going to be a ultimately distraught thing if Illinois misses the college football playoff, because the way that the playoff is kind of formatted is still a little wonky. Every conference champion has to be in there in terms of the Power Five conferences, and then you have the Group of Five needing a representative. So Illinois could be like that first team out if South Florida has to be in this field as the 12th seed. And then if a team like, I don't know, Clemson wins the ACC and Miami falls short, then that's another spot that has to go to a automatic qualifier. But we're talking Illinois football in a college football playoff scenario where they're either A on the bubble or right there. I mean, could you imagine the feel of a game of people from Champaign going to South Bend, Indiana to Notre Dame, or if Illinois upends Notre Dame as the number 8 team in the country whenever the first college football playoff uh, committee rankings come out, Illinois could host a Texas. Illinois could host a Notre Dame. Illinois could host a Florida State. Illinois could host South Carolina, our new rivals. Illinois could host Clemson, Oklahoma, Iowa State. These are premier matchups being in Champaign for a college football playoff. Think about that, Illini fans. Think about that. Every year we've seen some crazy matchups of Illinois versus some FCS program, and we're always asking, when's that big non-conference game going to be? It could be this year when the stakes are at its highest. And Illinois very well could be favored against a team like that. I looked at Nicole Auerbach's first college football playoff predictions preseason wise, and she had Illinois beating Georgia in Athens in the first round of the college football playoff and then losing to Penn State in the second round. But imagine Illinois going on the road in these kind of environments and coming out victorious. That is not only a major momentum shift for this program, even more so than what we've already had, but it could be a perception changer for recruiting, for NIL donations. We've already seen the results on the season ticket packages. I mean, we're selling out game after game after game after game for the Illini, and it's just getting better and better and better. And I couldn't be more excited to be an Illini fan. I'm going Saturday, and you'll see some tailgate video content as well of me interviewing some random people. If you want to be interviewed, contact me at AB1132 on Twitter, and I'll find your tailgate. I'll interview you. I want to hear what Illini Nation has to say about this particular team, where this particular program is going, and it's just an all around exciting time. I've never seen this amount of optimism in Champaign on this side of the street. On the opposite side of the street, I've seen it in '05. I've seen it in other times, '01, 2000, whenever I was a little kid. And even today with Brad Underwood and the program he's built and that Elite Eight run and just NCAA tournament after NCAA tournament after NCAA tournament. Do not take this for granted of what we're seeing on this renaissance of Illini athletics. I mean, what Josh Whitman been able to do has just been incredible. I mean, hell, our soccer program is 7-0 this year. One of the best starts that they've ever had as a program. This whole athletic unit has just been insane. It's been insane. And it's all because of the fan support that you guys have shown to the Illini football program, the Illini basketball program. And that definitely rubs off on all the Olympic sports, because whenever you're selling out games, it's much easier to pay for top coaches. It's much easier to pay for the top talent that you are getting year after year after year in all these various sports. And a lot of it comes like the NIL store at Campus Inc., and where you can get that officially licensed gear, like Luke Altmaier. Get his jersey. I mean, he's earned it. He's definitely earned it. I'm going to be getting a Luke Altmaier shirt or jersey or whatever, because this is what it's all about in college football today. You see some great performances, you want to reward them, and then other prospects, whether it be in the transfer portal or in the high school ranks, see that kind of support, see what kind of financial incentive it is to be in Champaign. It's just huge. It is large for the program. It's amazing with what these fans have been able to do. And we are truly living in the roaring 20s for Illini sports. It was like that in the 1920s for Illini sports, and here we are, where you're having NFL draft prospects. I mean, I was looking at that graphic before week one of the NFL football season that Illinois posted, and guys after guy after guy, team after team represented in the NFL coming from Champaign. Sidney Brown, Devin Witherspoon, Alex Palczewski, Nick Allegretti, Quan Martin, Devin Witherspoon. The list goes on of guys that are in the NFL. And it seems like that list is only going to be growing year after year after year, where Illinois has kind of turned into a DBU, where Illinois has kind of developed some offensive linemen that are suitable for the NFL ranks. And I think you'll see that with JC Davis. You're going to see another great edge rusher in Gabe Yakis coming into the NFL next year. I mean, it's just incredible to see the growth that this program that Champaign Urbana has had in coincidence with this Illini football program and this Illini basketball program. It truly feels like the U of I has put Champaign on a map that they haven't been on in quite some time. Where, perfect example, I was in New York City the day of the Illinois Duke game. I was rocking my armchair line I had. I was rocking a Columbia, Illinois button up, and some random guy in New York City on the Central West End, after I got some New York style pizza, said, "You have one hell of a quarterback." And then you have some other Big Ten fans coming around me at the pizza place that me and my wife are eating at, and saying, "Man, that Illinois team really whipped up on Duke. That's impressive. That's insane." I mean, to think of Illinois being so relevant in a big city like New York City, that people are coming up and talking to you about Illini sports. I mean, it's just incredible. Met some awesome families from an awesome family from the Chicago suburbs who were in New York City watching their daughter play some volleyball. And they were commenting on how cool it is to be an Illini fan right now, and had an entire conversation about Illini athletics outside of a bagel shop in New York City. That's the kind of buzz that Illinois sports are generating right now, and I could not be more excited about the direction of this program. It's just incredible. So I know this episode kind of went in a couple very weird directions after the Duke recap, but I truly feel like this is a momentous occasion for the Illini to get a non-conference win like that against a Power Five opponent. I think the last one was what, 2001. It's been a long time since there's been a game like that. Going through some Big Ten scores uh, this week, Northwestern beat Western Illinois 42-7. It's kind of predictable. That Western Illinois team is very sorry at the moment. Maryland beats another directional Illinois school 20-9 over Northern Illinois. Purdue beat the third directional school. It must be in directional school week for the Big Ten. Purdue beat Southern Illinois 34-17. That game was tied 14-14 after the end of the first quarter, and then the Big Ten depth kind of took advantage of the Salukis there. Ohio State beat Grambling 70-0. Penn State 34, Florida International 0. The performance of the week was probably Oregon over Oklahoma State, 69-3. I know this isn't the Mike Gundy programs of old, but Oregon putting that big of a whooping on a Big 12 team like that is kind of insane. I know Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy were talking a lot of trash about how rich the Oregon program was and how it's not a fair fight. And Oregon definitely made them see that is not a fair fight. 69-3. Then you had Underwood in Michigan losing 24-13 to Oklahoma. And John Mateer was pretty dang good. 21 of 34, 270 yards, one touchdown in that game. He is definitely a Heisman kind of front runner after this kind of result against the Michigan Wolverines. Then Kirk Ferentz, losing to Iowa State 16-13. And you think you have that quarterback, you think you have that guy in Mark Gronowski. Listen to his season stats. Season stats. 21 for 39, 127 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 4 sacks. That is it. 127 yards total across the 2 games that Iowa has played with Mark Gronowski. Compare that to what Luke Altmaier has in his 2 games. I know they played Western Illinois in one of those. Luke Altmaier already has 513 yards in 2 games. Mark Gronowski, 127 yards. Iowa, you have a Kirk Ferentz problem. I don't even think it's Mark Gronowski's problem. I don't even think it's Tim Lester's problem, the offensive coordinator for the Hawkeyes. You got problems. You got offensive problems. You still have offensive problems, and they have yet to be fixed or will be fixed. Going through some more scores, Indiana 56, Kennesaw State 9, Minnesota 66, Northwestern State 0, Wisconsin 42, Middle Tennessee State 10, 45-17, Rutgers over Miami of Ohio, Nebraska blasts Akron 68-0, USC beat Georgia Southern 59-20. Michigan State barely snuck out of a victory at home against Boston College and Bill O'Brien 42-40. Probably the worst loss of the Big Ten slate was Nico Imalieva in USC falling to UNLV 30-23. Nico had 29 for 41, 255 yards and a touchdown, but was not enough against UNLV, who could be that group of 5 team, depending on what happens against Miami for USF. And then Washington blasts UC Davis 70-10. Next week is kind of when some of the excitement starts. You got some Big Ten action starting up, but next week it'll be Indiana State taking on Indiana, Illinois hosting Western Michigan. I'm excited to be in attendance for that. That'll be a 6 p.m. kickoff on FS1. If you're not attending, Illinois is favored by 27.5 points. Then Oregon taking on Northwestern in Evanston. Oregon favored by 27.5 points there. Going through some other Big Ten matchups, New Mexico against UCLA. You got Wisconsin against Alabama. Alabama's favored by 21.5 points. We'll see what Kalen DeBoer has for this Wisconsin team. Luke Fickell and this Wisconsin team, they're 2-0 on the year, but man, that program seems to be going downhill. You got a Michigan battle, Central Michigan versus Michigan, Nebraska, Houston Christian, Maryland, Towson, Villanova, Penn State. Another Big Ten matchup. You got USC against Purdue. USC is favored by 21.5 points there. Rutgers, Norfolk State, Michigan State, Youngstown State, Ohio versus Ohio State, Massachusetts against Iowa. And then wrapping up the Big Ten slate is Minnesota going all the way to Berkeley to take on the Cal Golden Bears. And Minnesota is a 1.5 point favorite against the Cal Golden Bears. This has been a little bit of a unique Armchair Illini episode. I appreciate for you guys watching me talk about this Illini football program and what that win against Duke truly means. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Our next episode is tomorrow, and I'll be interviewing Mike Carpenter of the 200 Level Podcast. It'll be a nice talk about more about what I discussed about the Illini football trajectory and how that's influencing the entire University of Illinois athletics department. So I appreciate you watching and tuning in. This has been the Armchair Illini Podcast. ILL, INI.